In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And this war has damaged my new Kill Team Shadowhunt box. Hey everyone, I'm Liz, I paint minis, and I'm really excited to get my hands on this new box. Shadowhunt contains two brand new kill teams, namely the Celestian Insidiants from the Adepta Sororitas army, and the Murderwing from the Chaos Space Marines. These guys got leaked way back last August, and Games Workshop actually had to release some information way earlier than they clearly wanted to. Personally, I'm here for the sisters, but I'm really happy I've got these Chaos Space Marines too. The Shadowhunt box has the sprues for the Insidiants and the Murderwing, as well as their respective bases, and a whole bunch of kill team paraphernalia, including books, markers, and data cards. I'm really glad that Games Workshop have started including data cards in these boxes. I got a Chalmouth box back in 2022 which didn't have cards or markers or anything like that really. It did have some fun terrain though, which this box doesn't have. Looking at the sprues, I think it's these extrusion points as what's pierced both the outer box and also into this dossier box. I mean, I'm not really upset about it since I won't be keeping the boxes, but it is a shame that it's happened. Right, enough yapping, let's get building. I'm concentrating on the Celestian Insidiants today. Given that I play kill team sometimes as well as standard 40k, I'm going to build these as the kill team version. If you wanted to build these as standard 40k models, then there are plenty of weapons on the sprue that you can swap out. But make sure to check the rules, as there are some very fun things you can do with these models in 40k if you get them out properly. On the bright side, because the kit is brand new, it means the mould lines are quite small and really easy to get rid of. On the darker side, I need to very specifically call out one thing, and here is my pure, in the moment, unfiltered reaction to that one thing. I don't usually want to call out Games Workshop for being silly, but what the fuck is this? What is this? You have like half a hand here and half a hand here. What is the point? What? This is stupid. Fine. The trouble with a part this small is it's really difficult to trim off any mould lines or sprue joints. One slip and I could cut my own hand in half too. Okay, now I've managed to assemble most of them, with the exception of the heads and the backpacks. Some of the weapons are also separate, like this sword, just to make it easier to paint the torso underneath. And because I apparently like to be special, I'm using my very own fancy colour scheme. Here's that colour scheme on a finished mini. This is the Order of the Wild Rose. Purple and gold armour, pink fabric, and blue ribbons. It's a very girly scheme for my little girlies. I don't have anything against the official colour schemes, by the way, but when I got my very first sister mini, which is a Retributor with a flamer, gifted from a friend, I impulsively painted just pink, purple, and gold mix, and so I have to stick with it now. My first colour is gold, for which I'm using a few coats of Retributor armour. This is going to go on the thighs, the boots, the collar, and the gloves. A couple other bits will get gold too, both now and later. Phoenician purple will go on the torso armour, the shoulder pauldrons, as well as the lower legs. There are some little bits of arm hidden below the cloaks as well, they'll get those purple too. And then it's time for pink. Pink is another one of those awkward colours that doesn't like to stick to a mini. It's very translucent, so it needs multiple layers. Because the colour scheme uses a pale pink, why did I pick pale pink so many years ago? I'm going to need to add several layers, then do a darker pink wash, and then highlight back up with a lighter pink. I made the wash with some thinned down magenta. Then I added water to the pink areas of the mini, concentrating on the dips just to help the wash flow in there better. Painted on the wash. Some bits I did have to wick away where I'd put a bit too much on, just using a clean damp brush. In the moment it looked quite good, albeit maybe darker than I wanted. And then when it dried, coffee stains galore. It took a fair bit of work to fix these. I had to highlight back up with light pink on the highest edges where the light hits the most, mix magenta back into my light pink to make a more pigmented mid-tone, to go into all the in-betweeny bits. So the pink looks okay now. Let's move on to the backpacks. These are purple to match the purple armour with gold and silver details. I'm well practiced in painting these sorts of backpacks, given I have, nearly 100 system models now, so I know exactly how I want them to look in the end. There's these little candles on there that are going to go in red. There's lots of lovely little details on these models, like this quillo on the shoulders. Time for some blue. I started with the turquoise on the tubes around the collar and the ribbons, which I'll then wash with a dark blue in a minute. The Insidiants also have these bands around the torso which I've painted blue as well. We're now at the stage where most of the mini is sorted, but there are still so many details on these ladies left to do. Little shields on the hips, tiny gold medallions, grenades, storm bolts, and much more besides. Let's do some basing to break it up. Plain bases are always a little bit boring, and every other unit of my sister's has a different kind of themed base, so I had to think of something for these. I went with a kind of industrial setting with some bits I'd accrued over the years, some nicked for my brother, some for the Chalmers box, some just extra bits. Some of them are a bit too big for a base, so I had a lot of fun snipping them down. The Sister Superior also has these raised bits, so I don't actually need to add anything to her base at all. Sticking down with some super glue, prime with a little brush on primer. For the industrial setting, I went with dark metal girders and lighter grey concrete, all twisted up and set into a light brown mud, as well as picking out a few nice details. Dry brush it to give it a bit more of an uneven, muddy look. This is because I originally wanted to add some texture paints in a similar brown, and then... oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yes, that is a substantial amount of Hex-Wraith flame spilled all over my faces. You see, I've been painting these canisters on the back of the sisters in green for some fun visual distinction, just casually knocked over the bottle. I'm sure this is only supposed to happen with Nom oil. Still, once it was on the bases, I decided to just lean into it as one of those happy little accidents that Bob Ross keeps telling us about. Just added some blobs of green onto the base to make it look deliberate. I don't know, it's probably Xenos guts or something. I don't know what they look like, I ain't a heretic. But here's what the bases look like. The reason I'd spilled the paint is because I've been trying to paint these up really quickly. I was going to a game the next day and wanted to bring my Insidiants along to try them out, but Emperor forbid I bring unfinished minis. Of course I brought them anyway, without the heads and with a couple weapons just blue tacked on. But I was at least able to stick the backpacks on and get them on their bases before the game. Alas, I did lose that game, but I was kind of expecting to. I'm quite new to actually playing 40k, despite collecting sisters for about 5 years now. The game was part of a crusade game that my local shop is hosting, using the Armageddon book, that they've customised to be a little friendlier to new players like me. Once I was back from the game, I decided it was high time to start sorting weapons. Simulacrums like this hold some sort of relic sacred to the sisters. This one's got a skull of some kind, so presumably a very saintly lady from centuries ago, maybe the founder of the Wild Rose Order herself. This big mace is a verge of admonition, used for admonishing sinners and heretics who really should know better than to cross a group of Adepta Sororitas. Ms. Half-Hand here has the voice of condemnation, aka a fancy stick with a boombox in it. Most of the other ladies just have null maces for making psychers regret their life choices. And of course we have some fancy swords. I am not at the skill level yet where I can do non-metallic metal. I have tried before, and it looked really bad, so normal metallics it is. For ranged weapons, these Insidiants mostly just have bolt pistols and hand flamers. Nothing particularly special. Of course, still a million little details to get on these ladies, but that, I think, is the body's finished. So one thing I always do is I paint my base rims in one of the main colours of my colour scheme, in this case, pink. As it's pink, I have to paint around a dark pink, and a couple layers of lighter pink. Okay, let's get some faces done. Pink cowls for 3 of them. Neck protection is gold to match the collars on the minis. I like to have a couple of different skin tones in my minis, so I started with dark versions of cool, warm, and rose skin tones. And I'll highlight up as I please. Highlights tend to go on noses, chins, and the tops of cheeks. I have a nice variety of different hair colours too, from browns to blondes. I know white hair is kind of traditional for Adepta Sororitas, but actually, that's apparently only for the Order of our Martyred Lady. Gold crowns, and then it's time for the eyes. They're really hard to paint this small, so they're just going to be a white blob. That'll do. Then stick the heads down to the minis, and we're done. But wait, there's more. I haven't painted the shield yet. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, so I tried to paint it in speed paints, which just pulled at the edges. So I then had to go back in with a proper Phoenician purple to get it looking decent. couple of gold edges, and now we're done. Look at my lovely ladies! I'm so happy with how these came out. They fit in really nicely with the rest of my army, while also having enough detail to stand out as a unit. With these gals, I finally have a proper 2,000 point army, and they're well kitted out for kill team too. They've already pulled their weight in 2 40k battles so far, getting the most kills out of any unit I brought. Wish me luck in the crusade, thank you all for watching, remember to click all the things, and I hope to see you next time.